Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pipeline, episode 50. How is everyone doing today? How are we today, man? I've been really looking forward to this episode. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Wednesday afternoon. This is our 50th episode. Now I feel like that's less impressive once you think about the fact that we did multiple weeks. Like there's been multiple times where we've done multiple episodes a week. But still, I think it's a pretty decent milestone, and I'm pretty excited about that. Today, if you read the title, we're ranking. I'm pretty sure almost every show I've ever seen, at least most of them that are start to finish. Obviously, there's some I'm still currently wanting or am trying to finish. Some of these I've seen a long time ago where I've just quit watching, but I still threw them on this list. Either way, should be a very fun time. We got some people in the house. We have some LBM. Crit Daren, you crazy son of a gun. Yep, that's me. Hero's Journey in the house, Marty Moose in the house, Stranger in the house. How's everyone doing? How are the folks on this Wednesday afternoon? I hope y'all are good. Dang it, Daren, you're making me want to do this ranking for myself. Respect you for doing it something crazy like this, my friend. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel like it was more, or I thought it would have been a much bigger thing, but I've only, when I looked at the list, it's only about 90, or no, it's like 101 or so shows, which isn't crazy, from start to finish. I don't think that's a crazy amount. And, as I evolve and over the year, I think this is something I want to do every year, to kind of prep myself, or kind of just go over everything I've seen. I'm good. Oh, I tried your Discord link. It didn't work. After the stream, I'll send you a link. If that's either, I don't think you use X anymore, so I'll send you something over on Instagram or something. But we do have a Discord. Discord's weird because it always it expires after a week, and I don't know why. But I will make sure to send it to you. Now, before we do get into it, I do just want to shout out Blindwave, because Blindwave was my inspiration for wanting to do this. They've done 2 or 3 of these now. They do one every year. And I watched those, and I was like, this sounds really, really fun, and I want to do this for myself. And this seems like a really fun thing to do. But I don't like stealing things without at least like throwing the inspiration back at them, being like, "Yo, they did this first. I'm taking this from them." But hopefully, my opinions are much different than their opinions, and kind of what they've done. So I'm going to just jump right into. I'm going to move over to the rankings, because we have quite a few to go here. We don't even have news stories today. There was a couple of things I could have definitely have done news stories for, but I was like, you know what? I feel like the stream is so packed as is. I am going to just wait. I'm just gonna wait. Do it next week when we have a little bit more news to do. We can just spend the entire stream doing this. It should be a relatively good time. So yeah, let's just jump in. So I'm pretty sure my screen is currently being shared. So I have about 6 tiers here. Let's go over. Yeah, I don't use X anymore. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I have 6 tiers here, 6 tiers and categories. So front to back, up top we have perfect, which is, in my opinion, 10 out of 10 shows. There's not a single thing wrong with them. They're all the episodes are just amazing and perfect. There's nothing wrong with them ever. Then we have Divine, which is a basically perfect show. Might have a nitpick here or there, might have, something that doesn't really jive with me every once in a while, but it's near perfect. It's just maybe a step below perfect. Then we have Great, which are it's just a great show. It's not top tier. Like, it's not as perfect as the one before, but it's still just a really great show, from start to finish. Then we have Good, which is a show that I really enjoy. Like, these are shows that I think are good, but not always great. They have their issues. They have their nitpicks. Then we have These are shows that I'm not the hugest fans on, but I don't think that, like, they're bottom tier shows. And then I just have Bad. My opinion, they're just a bad show. Hero's Journey, that's not going to happen. Not going to happen, sorry. Alrighty, so let's just jump in, y'all. Let's just jump in. First up here, we have Euphoria. So Euphoria, and also, if you guys have opinions on where you guys would rank all of these shows, let me know. Let me know where you would rank each one of these shows. So Euphoria up first. Euphoria, man, I really loved that first season. That first season was really, really, really good. And those specials that followed it, those like Christmas and like New Year's specials, equally as good. Thought they were top tier. And then season 2, man, really, really, really dragged for me. I ended up stopping halfway through and had to binge it like later on once the whole season ended, because I wasn't vibing with the season so much. So just to kind of, so it's not perfect. It could be Divine, but I think where I kind of was feeling season 2 is at for me. I'm gonna say it's a great show. I think it's pretty great. Next up, and some I will definitely talk about more than others for sure. And where I would put them. I don't have much to say about Euphoria, but next up I have Total Drama Island. I feel like this is a show most people watched when they were growing up. I didn't. I binged it when I was older, like in high school era. So Total Drama Island, that first season, man, is like top tier. And then, I think like a lot of shows that go on, and I am counting kind of all the seasons, not as are cartoons on this list. They are on this list because they are TV shows. The ones I've seen, at least. So Total Drama Island, again, that first season was so good, and then over the years they get less good, or they kind of go up and down. Even though I enjoy it, I would put Total Drama Island in good, the like good area. Um, She-Hulk. She-Hulk is actually let me zoom my list in actually a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see it a little. Actually, no, you can't. That's too much, I guess. She-Hulk is a show most people would put in here. It's definitely not in there for me, and it's definitely not in She-Hulk is good, but I think it's just good. I think it's just a fine, good show. It's has some really cool stuff in there, some really good stuff. Some things I'm not a fan of, some things that are kind of just like in between for me. But for the most part, I think it does its job, and it's a show. And I was talking about this yesterday. If it does get a season 2, if it got a season 2, I think that's where it could improve upon itself and where it could get even better. Because those first seasons, when it comes to like, even it's not technically like a sitcom, but I think those first season for like sitcoms aren't always the greatest or aren't always the best. But I think it can only go up from here in coming seasons. Next up, I have the Cuphead show. So I put the Cuphead on my finished shows list when season 1 came out, which is why it's on this list. Now, I haven't watched anything since season 1. I think they've released 2 seasons since then, 1 or 2 seasons. But I kept it on here because I do think I can get at least enough of a sense of my opinion on the show. Now, this is coming from someone who hasn't played the games, who is completely kind of new to this world, and everything that this world kind of has to offer. Can I turn music on? Is music playing for you guys? Give me 1 second, guys. I think we kind of, it's just me talking today. I almost feel like we need some music going. At least a little louder. Yeah, that's better. Let's yeah, that's a vibe. It's just me today. So yeah, some music. The Cuphead show though, I would put Cuphead in great. I think Cuphead is a pretty great show. The first season, I think, did some really inventive stuff. It really proved what it was, and I think it can only go up from there. Let's just perfect. Avatar, perfect show. Perfect show, start to finish. There's not a single bad thing with Avatar. Oh, I stopped sharing. I'm so sorry. Oh. They released 2 seasons so far. Okay. Can you guys see it now? Okay, I think you can. Alright, yeah. Avatar for me is a perfect show. Start to finish, all 3 seasons. Like, I know that first season, the first season is still really good. I do know it took me a little longer to get into it than I probably should have. But once you're in it, man, start to finish, it really is kind of like a perfect journey. The characters are all great. Their arcs are great. And, it's a show that was so good, it was able to launch an entire studio. Avatar Studios is happening. Obviously, Korra happened, which is also on this list. The live action movies happening at some point, and we'll be able to enjoy that. Obviously, also is my audio good today? I forgot to check it. If it's not, I'll have to go in and fix it. But Avatar, perfect show, 10 out of 10, so good. Next up, the first kind of real show from my childhood. No, I almost didn't release. You've never seen Avatar? Oh man, you have to see Avatar. I feel like that might be one of the a must-see show for every person. You should definitely watch it. But Wizards of Waverly Place. It's hard. I don't know. You've never seen Avatar either? Oh man, we have to as a community, we all have to just watch Avatar. It's so good. Wizards, I wasn't sure if I should put shows that I watched from childhood, because I feel like that's almost an unfair advantage for other ones. Chatterbox Review says, "Hey Darren, I really like this concept. It was a good idea. Thanks, man. It's been a while, man. How have you been? How have you been? But Wizards, man, it's hard because obviously as a kid, it was like the perfect show. But I think, you know, for the time it came out, for my generation, for what it was able to do in that time era, I think it's a great show. I think depending what else comes in great, I could move it down to good as well, because I bet if I went back and watched, there's probably some things in that show that don't hold up as good, and maybe we will put it back in good once we kind of get there. But Stranger said, "I love this show. Me and my sister would watch it. I loved it." Yeah, no, it was a great show as a kid. Like, I think it was just kind of everything that you would want out of a kid show, I guess. Wizards is such great nostalgia. I agree, man. I agree. It was. I would like to go back and rewatch it at some point. Like, out of almost all the kid shows that I grew up with, that's the one that I often think about going back and revisiting. Next up is our first DC TV show, and that's Naomi. Man, I had a rough time with Naomi, y'all. I feel like, Chatterbox, did you watch Sweet Life on Deck? I did. It is on this list. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. Naomi, I feel like I was one of the few people that watched every episode of the show, start to finish. I struggled. I almost dropped off many times, but I did watch it. And I think the show's worst offense is that it's just kind of nothing. It's like 13 episodes of just nothing. And I think that kind of sucks. And it makes me, like, I think the concept was there. I think the story, I think these actors did a fine job. But I don't think it's bad. The worst thing that the show can be is boring. So it might be honestly, I'm gonna put it in eh for now. But we might move it to bad depending on what else is in eh. We will have to see. Next up here, Secret Invasion. Just wrapped up very recently. Shirley said, "I never watched Naomi." Yeah, I mean, there's really not much of a reason to, if we're going to be frank. There's not much of a reason to watch Naomi. Unless you're a person that just wants to say they've seen all of the, DC TV shows. But Secret Invasion, again, this show has been so hard for me to talk about, especially, online, because I really loved those first 4 episodes. I said it was top tier MCU content. And then those final 2 just kind of killed me. Episode 5, I slowly saw the show fall apart. And by episode 6, I was kind of devastated. So, I'm gonna put it in eh. It's not bad, because I think there are good qualities about the show, but kind of eh. Wasn't Superman shown in Naomi? Not really. I mean, the show was about her loving Superman and wanting to meet Superman, but all we really saw was a cape, I think. We never truly saw Superman. Here's Journey says Secret Invasion is a C grade. That's fair. I think it ultimately went a little lower for me, but that's fair. So next up is probably one of my all-time favorite shows, and that's Alien Force. Now, Alien Force is tough. It might be one of the toughest things to grade on here, because I think the start of the show to the end of the show, the quality of said show changed so drastically. If I was to just judge those first 2 seasons, it's perfect to divine for me. It's right there. It really, really is. Those first 2 seasons are peak Ben 10. It knows what it is. It has such strong stories. It's dynamic between the 3 leads, and how dark and gritty it is was such up my alley as a kid. I thought it just worked so well. And then season 3 rolled around, and listen, it's not as it's I even think I like season 3 more than most, but there is no denying that 3rd season is rough. But I think I want to put it in great. It's a great show. Just sometimes there's some issues. There is some nitpicks throughout the way, I guess. Next up here, we have Sabrina, or I guess The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the Netflix adaptation of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Shouldn't you rate OG series before? I just am letting it go as is. I'm just letting it run its course. We'll get to classic when we get to classic. Sabrina, kind of part of the Riververse, the Riverdale universe. I saw all of it but the final season, but I still feel like I have enough. And I hear the final season is not great. So I feel like I'm even doing this show a service by not putting it or not watching the final season. So Sabrina, man, I enjoyed it for a while. I think those first couple were okay, and then I don't know, I just kind of fell off. And again, I think the fact that Rip Riverdale, I think just the fact that I didn't watch the final season kind of proved kind of how I'm feeling about the show. So it's it's an eh for me. It's just kind of like an eh for me. I was not expecting to love Sabrina, but it ended loving Sabrina. Yeah, I'm very glad you liked it. I enjoyed what I saw. I didn't think any of it was spectacular though, at least to me. So next up we have Infinity Train. Watched this last year. Took the journey weekly. Loved it. Loved Infinity Train. How many shows total are there? So I'm pretty sure there was 102 shows in total. But that also doesn't include things that I'm not done with yet. So I have so many started series that are just kind of in my catalog that I need to finish. And hopefully maybe next year I kind of want to do an updated version of everything I've finished since then, for sure. Most of these shows I have not seen. Well, we have a lot of shows here, guys, so I bet there will be stuff that you have seen at some point in time. Next up is Infinity Train. Those first 3 seasons is perfect for me. Those first 3 seasons are divine. They really are divine. But that 3rd season, or that 4th season, I didn't vibe with as much. I still feel like it could be perfect because it wasn't necessarily bad, but I did think it was a weaker season compared to the rest of them. Maybe we can circle back around. Maybe it can go in perfect tier once I can kind of see what the rest of perfect looked like. But for now, I think we're going to place it in divine. If y'all have not seen the show, if you guys want a really short, just amazing animated show, watch Infinity Train. It's so good. Absolutely amazing. Alrighty. Next up here, we have Para Kings. Now, this is another show I grew up with. A show that I had a lot of love for when I was in elementary school, middle school type era. I'd say it's a good show. I wouldn't say it's S tier or anything. Did they do a tax write-off on the what? Oh, Infinity Train. It had something weird with it. I'm pretty sure it's back on streaming now, but there was a thing for a while where it was taken off all streaming stuff, and I'm not exactly sure what had happened with it, but there was some issues for a while. But yeah, it's a show that I hope can come back. I know they had plans to do more. They had plans to do other stuff. Have I seen Terminator? I haven't seen a single Terminator movie. I really have not. I need to at some point, but I have not. Yeah, Parrot Kings, good show. Not perfect show. I love the Parrot Kings on the top of the world. Yeah, I think it's that third season that really did take me out just as a kid. Like, as a kid, having, like, your main lead kind of leave and have someone else have to come in is an adjustment. Not saying it was bad, because I still think it, I do believe it's true. Yeah. Parrot Kings, good show. Up next here, I have Manifest, a show that I finished. I've officially finished Manifest in the last, like, 48 or so hours. In the last, 3 days or so. I finished it on Monday. And, listen, like, man, I don't, like, Manifest went from, like, a good C-tier show, and I think in its final 5 episodes, I think it maybe graduated up to a great show. I think, again, like, a lot of these shows we might have to move around once we kind of see how they fill in a little bit, and kind of where some of these shows land. But, like, the show had so many highs, it had so many lows, but I think it almost averages each other out, and it might end up going back to just a good show by the end of it, but I don't know. Like, it is kind of like a middle tier show, and doesn't quite always. I'm gonna put it in good for now, and we'll see where the rest of good tier shows end. He never got with Michaela. That still hurts. Man, that man tried his hardest. Like, he tried. He tried very hard. Next up, we have Lucifer. We have actually a bunch of superhero shows coming up, so we might get into some of the shows you guys have seen. Lucifer is very much like Manifest for me, where the highs are so high, and the lows are so low. I wouldn't say so low. I'd say it's another good show. It's not like, I do think it does sometimes get a little dry, it gets a little stale at some points. But man, like, the high you would get when this show was good, was very high. So I'm gonna say Lucifer's in just good. It's a good show. And looking at kind of where everything's kind of leaning in, I think I'm gonna move Wizards to good as well. I think that's kind of where we're at currently. All right, next up we have Black Lightning. I feel like I like Black Lightning a lot more than a lot of other people. I still see got a lot of hate for some reason, and I think it's sometimes very silly. The first season was amazing, absolutely brilliant. Season 2 fell off for sure, but like, even season 2, like, I think it's a step down from season 1, but it's still solid. Like, it's still better than a lot of the other Arrowverse seasons. Season 3 is top tier DC TV, some of the best around. And then season 4 falls hard. It falls from grace a lot. If season 4 was good, it would be up here for me. I really think that for sure. I'm gonna put it in great though, because I think it is still one of the more consistent DC TV shows. I do think it's one of the more consistently good. Like, those first 3 seasons it just puts out good DC TV content, and then it is just in that final stretch of season 4 that drops the ball hard. So I think it's a great show. Not divine, I think it's better than good though. Next up, I have Ultimate Alien. Now, our second Ben 10 show here. I know a lot of you guys were talking about Classic a little bit ago, and where's Classic, and we'll get the Classic for sure. So Ultimate Alien's my least favorite Ben 10 show. I love Ben 10. You don't know what Ben 10 is? I have a hard time believing that. I feel like you might be trolling. It's my least favorite though, because I think each season, like, I feel like as good as the show gets, I feel like there's not a season that doesn't slightly drop the ball. Like the Agor arc was really good, but it's very rushed at the end. The Kevin arc is really good, but also kind of drops the ball at the end. And that final arc, I am not a fan of the final arc of Ben 10. So I'm gonna just put it in good. Not my favorite. No, or is it spelled? That's crazy. I would go check out Ben 10. Start with classic and just make your way through. It's a good show. Next up is a show that I am pretty positive I am the only person who's ever seen it. I've never met in my life a single soul who has seen Everything Is Going to Be Okay. This was a freeform show that ran for 2 seasons. It's like a coming of age type sitcom type show. And I saw one ad for it my entire life. I've only seen one ad for the show, and I saw it. And this is like one of those shows where I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but you see the show and you're like, yep, I have to watch it now. I put aside everything else I'm watching, and I just watched it, and I fell in love with it. I think I think it could be a perfect show for me. It very well could. But I do think I have stopped thinking about it in the years that it has ended. In the last couple of years, I've stopped kind of thinking about it so much, and I feel like I can't, with good conscience, put it in S or put it in perfect with how little I've thought about it recently. But I have heard of it, but I have never seen it. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend if you are someone in the LGBTQ plus community, I would highly recommend it, because I think they do a very good job with their rep in that show. So I'm a big fan. I know no one else is, but it is divine for me. Up next is probably one of my all-time favorite sitcoms. It was easily, as a kid, like next to Ben 10 and Power Rangers, one of my favorite shows. And that is Good Luck Charlie. Listen, I loved the Disney sitcom era, the 2010s sitcom era. That was kind of my generation of Disney sitcoms, and I to this day still say this is the best they have to offer. I think this is, again, from my era of Disney Channel, I think this is some of the best that they have to offer. And I legitimately think it's a great show. I will stand by that. Is it to the lengths of some of these top tier shows? No, it's like a Disney Channel show, right? But I think what they were able to do was very good. And guys, let me know about my audio. I asked you guys a little earlier. I didn't. You know what? I'm just going to check really quick. I'm just going to go check. Okay, audio is good. Audio is good. I was just making sure, because sometimes I'll stream with someone, and I'll go through the whole stream, and I don't know my mic isn't connected. And I didn't want to do that for the stream. Alrighty here. Next up, we have Stargirl. I've been thinking about this one all week. I haven't known where to put Stargirl. I had been debating, is Stargirl a perfect show? Does it go in perfect for me? Now, I know some people wouldn't agree with that. I think depending on your Kata. What's up, Kata? How's it going, buddy? I don't think everyone would agree with Stargirl and perfect, but I've been debating with it. I have been debating if it's a perfect show for me, because like, every issue I end up having with the show, I end up looking back at it and being like, I don't really have an issue with that thing anymore. I'm content. I like that thing that I had an issue with, having seen the show's full vision and what the season ultimately did, no longer bothers me. Screw it, man. Screw it. I'm putting it in perfect for me, because I really like looking, like, and again, like, Stargirl is not going to be a show for everybody, but I think for the people that it is, it does it very, very well. We'll have to see where our top 2 categories kind of fill into as we go along. Maybe we'll move it, maybe we won't, I don't know. We'll see. All right, up next here we have The Boys. One of the better comic book shows on currently, I'd say. I think most people would agree with that statement. The Boys being a very popular show. The spinoff comes out in about a month's time, and I love The Boys. I think The Boys is a fantastic show. Season 2 is really, really, really good. I think season 2, I go back and forth if I like season 1 or season 2 more, but I'd say relatively consistent. Season 3 was my favorite, although I do think they slightly dropped the ball at the end of the season. I do think they slightly wasn't bad, but I thought they were going a certain way, and we kind of went back to like the status quo. So I don't know, but The Boys, I think, is a divine show. It's really, really good. I wouldn't put it in S tier for like little nitpicky stuff throughout the seasons, but it's pretty darn great from start to finish. And I have faith in the spinoff. I have faith in season 4 and then 5 and whatever we have next. And we should have another Boys show on here somewhere, unless I forgot to put it in. Up next, we have a Young Justice. Now, again, just like Cuphead, it was on my finished list before season 4 came out. I saw the first half of season 4. I did not see the back half. I've not finished, start to finish, I've not finished Young Justice. Where do we think we should put Young Justice? Because this is one I'm very conflicted on. If we're talking those first 2 seasons exclusively, it's perfect. Those first 2 seasons and that's it. It's a perfect show. I think if it never came back, it's a perfect show. Season 3 would be about here. Season 4, probably same spot. So I'm going to meet in the middle, and I'm going to say Divine, because it is so really good. And again, like, I can't dismiss what good that show did. Like, the storylines they were able to pull off. Like, I would argue that like Young Justice, when it's good, is some of the best superhero content ever. Like, it's so good. It's so perfect. Those first 2 seasons, oh, chef's kiss. So good. Next up, we have The Boys Diabolical. The anthology series. I wasn't a massive fan of the show, not for any particular reason. I think it's just like, I think it's these type of shows that are really hard to rank, because each episode is kind of on their own. Like, you could have a tier list of just the show and where each episode ranks for you. So I think just for that sake, it has to go in good, kind of the in-between of everything. I don't really ever think about Diabolical at all. Nothing screams out to me when I think about the show. I wonder if it's going to ever get a season 2, if we're ever going to get more of Diabolical. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'd just say very, very middle of the road for me, as it stands. Up next, we have Mrs. Legend of Korra. This was another show I watched last year for the first time. I did it, or was it? I think it was last year. I watched it weekly, and I had the bestest time with Legend of Korra. Season 1 was really good. I thought it had, okay, so season 1 was good in the back half. I had a very hard time getting into Legend of Korra because I watched the Avatar series finale and the Legend of Korra series premiere back to back, and that was one of the hardest adjustments I've ever seen. So, listen, Korra is no Avatar. Let me read the chat. I have never seen Avatar. I wasn't interested in as a kid, but I love the Legend of Korra. Interesting. So you've seen Korra and not Avatar. That's kind of interesting. I would really recommend Avatar. I don't even think you have to be a kid. I think it's a franchise that can kind of be catered to any age. So yeah, I mean, Avatar is an S tier perfect show for me. And I don't think it's quite there for me. Season 3 is S tier. Season 3 was so good. And again, when Korra is good, it is an S tier show. I'm going to put it in great. I think it's just a great show. It's a fun, great show. Up next, we're going to separate this one a little bit from the rest. Jesse down, actually. Alright, up next we have Agent Carter. I watched Agent Carter a couple of weeks ago by this point. Or a couple months ago by this point, I should say. I had a lot of fun with Agent Carter, man. I thought it was a really fun time. I think Agent Carter is a very slow burn. If I wasn't watching just to get to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, because I took a break in between Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6 and Season 7 to watch Agent Carter, because I wanted, on my rewatch, I wanted more of a substance. I wanted to learn more about things that happened in the final season. I've never seen Agent Carter. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people didn't. There's a reason it was canceled. I didn't watch it again until a couple of months ago. Is Agent Carter a great or good show? I'm looking at the good show category. Look at the great. I'm vibing more with great. I'm vibing Agent Carter with your Legend of Korra, your Black Lightning, your Euphoria. I'm feeling great about putting Agent Carter here. That seems like a vibe. Next up we have The Sweet Life on Deck. Now, I've seen The Sweet Life on Deck all the way through. This is just like Wizards and Good Luck Charlie. Those were my 3 favorite sitcoms growing up, was Good Luck Charlie, Wizards, and Sweet Life on Deck. This was my vibe. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but I wonder how, I feel like that show ages very well, and you look back at those jokes and I tend to just laugh at them and have a good time with them. I don't know. I'm vibing with great. I think I'm gonna put it in great for now. I think it is a step above Wizards, but kind of pretty on par with your Good Luck Charlie and your it's weird to have Euphoria and Sweet Life on Deck in the same category. But yeah, Sweet Life is fun. It's a fun show that I grew up on, and I'll always appreciate it quite a bit. Up next here we have a Better Call Saul, the prequel to Breaking Bad, which is also on this list. No shadow of a doubt, not a single in my mind whatsoever. It's a perfect show, start to finish, not a single bad episode. I have never seen a show last as long as Better Call Saul has and not have a bad season. Most of these perfect shows, I mean, just look at a perfect thing so far. Avatar, 3 seasons. Stargirl, 3 seasons. Better Call Saul, 6 seasons. And I will bet everything that ends up going in my perfect category will not have gone as long as Better Call Saul. I've never seen a spin-off, I think, rival its predecessor so much. Like, again, like just like Breaking Bad, and bit of a spoiler, there's not a single bad episode in the bunch. It's just perfect all the way through. And like Breaking Bad is like considered to be one of the greatest shows ever made. And I like Better Call Saul more than Breaking Bad. So I don't know what that tells you. But I'm a big fan of Better Call Saul. That was another show that ended last year, huh? Man, so many shows are ending. So many great shows are just ending, and that makes me sad. Alrighty. Next up, we have Once Upon a Time. So this might be one of the harder ones on this list, because Once Upon a Time, it's one of my all-time favorite shows. The show I grew up with, and I'm currently rewatching it for the first time since I was a kid, and I'm having a good time with that. We just finished season 2 last week. We talked about it on our Watching Through the Void episode on Sunday. I thought season 2 was solid. And this one's going to be hard. I think this might be one I have to answer next year when we're closer to finishing Once Upon a Time. And listen, like, I don't even, like, even back then I knew, like, Once Upon a Time wasn't some S-tier amazing show. Like, it wasn't some masterpiece. It had some really, really good stuff. It also has some really, really bad stuff in there as well. So it's a good show. Good show. And I'm currently watching the peak of it, so I think I can say it's good. It could potentially move to great, but I think if I'm being honest, it's a good show. Liv and Maddie, one of the last shows I watched on the Disney Channel when I was a kid. Like, I was kind of a late bloomer. Like, by that point, I was probably still too old to be watching Disney Channel, but I was still... I think that's the last one I watched start to finish before kind of growing out of the Disney Channel era for me. And it's a good show. Again, maybe it would have been higher if I was a little younger when I was watching it. So, obviously, it was past the, like, Good Luck Charlie, Wizards era. This is part of that, like, new, like, Bunked, Liv and Maddie, Girl Meets World kind of era of Disney Channel. Casey Undercover, stuff like that, for sure. It's a good show. I have nothing else to say. The Looney Tunes show. I watched this a couple years ago, just based on the clips I've seen, and I was like, I'm just going to start watching it. And to this day, I think it's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. So this is like the 2011, 2012 show, ran for 2 seasons. Everyone still raves about it to this day. It's so good. And I think it's a divine show. I think it's an amazing show. And it has no right to be this good. A Looney Tunes show, a like sitcom style Office Looney Tunes show, just has no right to be this good and be this funny. They could have tuned it in. They could have been like, it's a Looney Tunes show, whatever. But these writers were hilarious. The only reason it doesn't even get the perfect for me is because those song segments I wasn't a huge fan of as a kid. Or, I didn't even watch. I mean, I watched a little bit of it as a kid, but I really binged it recently in the last couple of years. So I'd say divine for me. Next up is Only Murders in the Building. So the new season's currently going on. It's airing. Season 3 is airing as we speak, and it's currently amazing. I think it's currently in its best season. Now, where do I put it? I'm gonna say it's a great show. I think it's a pretty great show. I don't think the show does anything like. I feel like there's nothing that can keep it. It's not perfect, I would say. I would not say it's a perfect show. There's nothing to say to put it against Like for it to not be put in this category. But I do think it stays in great, for sure. I think I'm moving Young Justice down, actually. Because, like, looking at everything else in that category, I think Young Justice has to move down to great. Yeah, love Victor. Love Victor, man. So, for those who know me, Love, Simon is one of my favorite movies ever made. Love, Simon is amazing. I think it's so good. It's just a movie that hits home to me. And the spinoff ran for 3 seasons. I don't know, mate. I like season 1 was okay. I thought season 2 was a step up from that. And season 3 just dropped the ball in like every way possible. It was really all over the place. It didn't because like season 2 found its footing. Like season 1 was kind of like it didn't really know, like it was trying to be like the Love, Simon movie and books, but it didn't really know how. And then season 2 was like, oh yeah, we know what it is. And then season 3 felt like they kind of had to hurry up and rush some things and get it all finished up. So I think it's just going to go an F for me, unfortunately. It's not a bad show. It could have been a lot better, though, unfortunately. Next up, we have Amphibia. Amphibia, man, finished that up this year. And that was a great, fantastical addition to my finished shows list. I thought it was such a fun journey. Prime example of why modern Disney Channel can be good. And I think that is in result of their animation. Like, they're like, again, I am not the like demographic for current Disney Channel. I'm not actively watching their stuff, but when a modern thing does come out and it is praised, you kind of have to check it out and see what's happening with it. And it's a great show. I know for some people it's a perfect show, and I think it has the qualifiers for it. It really does. It has the qualifiers to be a perfect show, and I relatively think it is. It's going in divine for me, just because season 2 was really good, and oh my gosh, the ending was absolutely insane, bonkers craziness. But I did think season 2 slightly dragged for me. Like, season 1 was amazing. Season 2 was really good. Like season 2 is still like it's still great television. And then season 3 was absolutely bonkers crazy. That's it's so like it is on, like it would be in between perfect and divine. It's so close to getting there for me, but still not quite up there yet. Sex Education. I think we're about to hit a stripe of really highly rated shows here. I think like we're right here. Sex Education, first 2 seasons are perfect. I think I've said for years, I think Sex Education is one of the best shows on TV right now. That's getting absolutely slept on. It's so good. It's writing. It's all so good. I'm gonna say, just based on the 3rd season, though, it's a divine show for me. But it's one of those shows that are right on the precipice of perfect. It's close. Maybe if season 4, I don't know, like season 3 wasn't even bad. Like the first 2 were just at such a high caliber that season 3 I just don't think could quite live up to it. But it's really good. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., another one of my favorite shows. Y'all don't know how badly I want to put it in perfect. I love the show so much. I literally just got done watching an episode like an hour ago. 2 hours ago. It's so good. It's so perfect. The cast is perfect. I like on rewatch, and I'm currently about to wrap up my rewatch of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I cannot believe how much I love it now. With that being said, I don't think I can quite put it in perfect for me, just due to the facts of like I have nitpicks throughout the show. Like, it's not like there's not even a bad episode, and with that logic, I could put it up there in perfect. But I think just like there's certain seasons I don't think quite live up to some of the other ones. There are certain plot points where I was like, oh, that's a little weird, but like it's so good. Like to the fact I'm gonna put it like head of the pack of Divine. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was a great show, absolutely amazing. Peacemaker. Oh man. Where do we want to put Peacemaker? Where can you do this if it was... Let me read that, sorry. Where can I do this if I was interested in ranking every show I've seen? So there's a website called, just like search up like tiermaker.com, and you have the option to make your own tier. You just have to download all the photos of all the shows that you've seen, and put it in a bracket, and it'll make it for you. Super easy. If you have the time to print out all the shows you've seen, like I had to download like 100 like photos to make this. But it's fun. It's really fun. Peacemaker. Peacemaker's amazing. It's an amazing show. Is it divine though? Do I put it on the levels of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Infinity Train and The Boys after just one season? Do I? Yeah, I think so. Maybe. It's like, I think it's on the like precipice of divine. I think. No. I think it's divine. I do. I think it earns that spot. I do. It's fine there. I mean, you've never seen it. I would recommend it. It's very good. It's one season. It's very short. Wolverine and the X-Men. This one was, I was debating if I wanted to put this on here because it's been so long since I've seen it. I grew up with the show. I fell in love with the show. I think on rewatch, it could be a perfect. But I don't trust my memory enough to put it there. All I do is watch TV too many photos. I understand, man. I completely understand. Do you guys hear that buzzing? Okay, it stopped. I'm gonna put it in divine. I don't remember the show enough to say it can be perfect yet, but it could be. It very much could be. I'm honestly, I kind of want like before 97 comes out next year, I want to watch all of them. You guys don't hear it? Okay, so just me. It was just my mic, I guess. Yeah, divine I think is a solid place for it. Gravity Falls. Get all the way up there to S tier. Gravity Falls. You're perfect. Another show I watched last year. Fell in love with Gravity Falls. Absolutely perfect. I mean, you know, like this was one of those shows. This and our next one were shows that I grew up with. No, it's a show that I heard about a lot growing up. It was all over the Disney Channel, but I was like, this looks stupid, and I never watched it. I never checked it out. And with all the praise I heard over the years, I was like, it can't be that good. And it really is that good. It's amazing. If you have not seen Gravity Falls, one of my highest recommended shows. It's so good. So good. Next up, we have a Game of Thrones. What a weird one. I'll say this. I enjoy the back half of Game of Thrones more than I thought. This is one I watched last year as well. I ended up watching a lot of new shows last year. I was very proud of all the new things I'd watched. For sure. Game of Thrones. Never seen Game of Thrones. I mean, it's a very long journey. I watched it in preparation for House of the Dragon, and I didn't even finish House of the Dragons. That'll be on next year's ranking, I guess. But Game of Thrones, honestly, Game of Thrones was never in the perfect for me. Divine, maybe. It could have been close to that at some points. I think it's just pretty consistently a great show, even when it's not as good. And the final season was definitely disappointing. I still think it's a great show. I love the last couple of seasons. I really listen. Like, I went into the show knowing that people hated the final season, knowing that it was so depressing for people and people hated it. And with that in mind, I besides the last episode, besides the final one, I really liked Game of Thrones. I thought it was good. And even the stuff that people had an issue with, I didn't really have an issue with them. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But again, I also binged the show. I didn't spend 10 years watching it week to week live. So I think that definitely puts a damper. I won't have as much of a connection to that world as others probably would. Up next, oh boy, it's the one, the only, The Flash. I mean, this is a show where every season could be somewhere else. Season 1 and 2 is in that perfect to divine. Season 3 is in that great to good category. Season 4 and 5 in that Season 6 is in that good. Season 8 is in that good. Season 9 is in that bad. It goes up and down every season. I think just to rival it out, though, it has to go in good. Again, biased aside, I can even look at the show as being one of, if not one of my favorite shows of all time. Realize, hey, the show isn't always amazing. The show isn't always top tier or anything. So it's a good show. It has its ups and downs, though. I think we can all admit that. Smallville. 10 seasons worth of Smallville. It's been a while. It's been a couple of years since I've seen it. A lot of the seasons definitely blur together for me when it comes to Smallville. It's not perfect, for sure. It's definitely not perfect. I wouldn't even say it's divine. I think Smallville is a pretty great show. Where it counts, I think Smallville is a pretty grade A show. And especially for the amount of seasons it ran for, Smallville is a pretty great show. And holds its own compared to a lot of the Arrowverse stuff as well. It never reaches the heights that the peak Arrowverse did for me. I never reached the heights of Arrow and Flash, but it gets close, man. It gets really, really good. I bet I would rank it much higher if it wasn't just a binge for me, if I watched it week to week instead. For sure. Next up, we have Loki. I almost said Lucifer. Loki. Where do we put Loki? I think Loki could be divine. I could see it living with Peacemaker and Wolverine and the X-Men and Amphibia. New season comes out in a little over a month, right? I'm feeling divine. I'm trying to it's better than Loki. It's better than Smallville, better than Game of Thrones, better than Young Justice. Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling divine. But again, it's still it's only one season. I feel kind of weird putting one season shows on here. Sorry. But yeah, I think it can live there pretty positively without too much of an issue. Next up we have Jesse. Oh boy. And again, I have to take these shows with a grain of salt because I grew up with them and I loved Jesse as a kid. I do think looking back at Jesse, though, it is one of the sitcoms that hasn't aged the best. And, when I look at it through adult eyes who that it's not meant for, I'd be like, maybe not as good. Maybe not as good as I wish it was. So I think it's an ass show for me. But again, I am an adult now and with an adult brain. But I never thought it lived up to the ranks of Wizards or Liv and Maddie or definitely nowhere near Sweet Life on Deck or Good Luck Charlie. So I'm gonna say it's kind of an eh for me. Next up is The Gifted. The Gifted. Where do I want to put The Gifted? This show stuck with me a while. At one point in time, I would have said perfect. It's not perfect. I think season 2 does slightly drop the ball sometimes when it comes to it. I think it's a pretty divine show, though. Like, I think what it was able to do... Like, the X-Men are my favorite superhero teams, and I loved getting to live in the world of the X-Men without even having to have the X-Men. Getting to live with some of these characters in a way that we never got to see them before. It was such a brilliant show. And at one point in time, it was in my top 10 shows ever. It really was. So I think Divine is fair for that, even though it has been a while for me. It has been a while. Up next we have... I'm just looking what's next. Make sure I didn't forget nothing. I feel like I may have forgot a couple shows. Like, I don't see Daredevil on this list, and I feel like... Oh well, we'll get there when we get there. Next up we have Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Alrighty. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The cliffhanger ending is terrible. It's an amazing cliffhanger. It just sucks it didn't get paid off. You know? Really unfortunate. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is our first proper MCU show on this list. How do I feel about Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I think a lot of these MCU shows are probably going to live in the same kind of general area. It's good. It's a good show. I listen, like it could be great. It could. I need to rewatch it. Like my friend came out of it, like rewatching it recently, and he's like, "This show is amazing. It's some of the best the MCU has to offer." And give me 1 second, guys. And he kind of came out of like rewatching it, and it was like, this is some of the best the MCU kind of has to offer. And I need to rewatch it because I didn't get that when I came out of it. But I feel like I could over time. So for me, it's just good. It's a good show. I thought fucking... Yeah, I think it's just a good show. I think it's good. Next up, we have Wednesday. The show that took the world by storm last year. Absolutely. Everyone loved it. Everyone adored it. I think it's a great show. It's a pretty great show. Start to finish, pretty darn great. I thought it could... Well, no, it's great. It's a great show. I think there is room for improvement. There are nitpicks. I don't think it's perfect, right? But I think season 2 could really nail those out, and I think it could go up. It could be in like Divine, just based on that first season. Though it's a pretty great show. Next up here, and this might be the only show in this category. We got Inhumans, y'all. We have Inhumans. Remember good old Inhumans? Bad. It's a bad show. I don't watch many bad shows. Like, the reason why there's really nothing in bad, because if it's a bad show, I'm probably not finishing it. But I either got really close to finishing Inhumans or really close. Yeah, that's bad. It's a bad show. Again, I like TV, y'all. It's going to be very rare when I watch a show that I dislike. You know what I mean? It's a very rare occasion. But yeah, Inhumans bad. Next up here is what I can't. There's no title there, but I'm pretty sure this is Umbrella Academy. Umbrella Academy is good. It's a good show. Season 1 and 2, it was a great show. I loved Umbrella Academy, but season 3 put me through the ringer, y'all. I had a tough I had a really tough time with season 3. Some of just the things that the characters would do, some of the things that characters got put into, felt like we were kind of running in circles with certain characters and what they were doing. And as much as I still enjoy it, I don't know. Maybe it's just a gimmick of the show is wearing off for me, and that's why. But I had a tough time with it. Like, if season 4 is the same as season 3, I'd be willing to put it in like the category. But yeah, very few shows should be in bad or perfect. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Like, I feel like almost every show at least has like a redeeming quality, and again, being a perfect show is very rare for me, which is why they're my 2 smallest categories. Is season 4 even out yet? It is not. It is not. I don't know when it's coming out, actually. But, like, I know, and it is the final season. It only has, like, 5 episodes or something crazy low like that. Next show is another show I stopped watching. Not due to, like, quality or anything, but I just kind of think I outgrew the show, and that's 911. 911. You know, like, these network type shows aren't necessarily always my cup of tea, but I did get into it a little bit for a couple of those years. I think I watched 5 seasons. I can't see the quality of the show drastically changing anytime soon. I think with shows like this, I think they are consistently kind of at the same level. I don't think I would drastically like or dislike it anymore if I watched the last couple of seasons. They're on season 7? It's good. Nothing to write home about. I think it can be a lot of fun. Their characters are a lot of fun, but it's just a good show. I am not okay with this. Another Netflix show. It came out, had 1 season. I enjoyed it, and then got canceled instantly, and no one really watched it. I thought it was a lot of fun when it came out. I remember really praising it. I was also kind of younger when it came out, though. Like, I felt like my taste in movies and TV weren't 100% born yet, I guess. But I'd say it's just good. I don't think it can go up to great. Just a good show. Up next here, we have The Mandalorian. This is another show I'm actually currently behind on. I haven't finished season 3. So maybe that tells you... should that tell you something about the quality of said show? If I haven't felt like I needed to get around to watch season 3 yet? Maybe, possibly. But I love those first seasons. Like, those first 2 seasons are my favorite, probably my favorite Star Wars thing ever. I love The Mandalorian. Those first 2, at least. I didn't even have an issue with... I know a lot of people had an issue with season 3. A lot of people. And I liked what I saw. Like, what I saw, I still thought was pretty fun. So I'd say it's great. I'd say it's a pretty great show. And it's not like I don't want to go back and rewatch at some point in time. Or I guess go back and finish season 3. Maybe after I get done with some of these other Star Wars shows, because I am kind of getting through some of them currently. I'm currently watching Clone Wars and stuff like that. So maybe at some point. We're like really filling in our tier list here. So now it's kind of getting hard to tell which is in which category, which is kind of funny. Next up is a Cobra Kai. Boy. Cobra Kai is hard because enjoyment factor, it's a perfect show just based on my enjoyment of said show. I wouldn't say it's some perfect masterpiece, but man, it's probably some of the most fun I ever have watching TV, and the journey that show goes on. I watched the first season of Cobra Kai, never continued, man. You haven't seen it, man. I mean, if you like TV, man, I'd recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun watching it. This is a weird show. Because it feels way too low for Cobra Kai. But Divine seems too high. Divine seems too high for Cobra Kai. I'm gonna say great. It's like a high grade. And again, we will have to rearrange some of these as we start finishing up. We're kind of in our back half of shows here, so we will have to readjust. I feel like Cobra Kai is more mature version of Kicking It a little bit. I would argue. I mean, I never watched much Kicking It, so I can't say. But Cobra Kai is very good. I think the high it takes you, man. Oh man, some good stuff. Up next, I have some Ultimate Spider-Man. Weirdly enough, the only Spider-Man show I've seen start to finish. 90s Spider-Man, nah. Spectacular Spider-Man, not yet, but it just won our poll. Ultimate Spider-Man. I saw every episode of Ultimate Spider-Man. I mean, that was just my like generation, right? I was in like middle school or so when the show was coming out. And the show gets a lot of hate from like Spider-Man fans. It's not everyone's favorite. I remember enjoying it enough. I had enough of a good time with it, I think. Not some top tier Spider-Man content. I'd probably put it in probably. Or good. You know what? It's in good for me. I don't think it deserves because I do think it does a lot of things right. I do think it has a lot of fun. But again, I was a kid when I watched it, so what can we really say here? Up next we have a Sweet Tooth. I realize I put the boys on here twice, so I'm gonna move him down there. Sweet Tooth. Stranger said, I loved Ultimate Spider-Man. Disagree that it's an awful. I just really, yeah. I mean, as a kid, I think it was pretty solid. Sweet Tooth, a show I watched very recently. Finished it a couple months ago, actually. We watched Sweet Tooth season 1 weekly, and a couple weeks later, season 2 dropped, and we finished that. Where should Sweet Tooth go? Because it's not some grandiose show. It's nothing extremely special, but I think it's a really fun time. Are we feeling good? We feeling good for Sweet Tooth? But again, good seems too low. Like I'm putting it against all these other shows, and I think it's better than those. So I'm gonna say great. I'm gonna say great for Sweet Tooth. Great for Sweet Tooth. And I'm like, as these lists are filling up, I'm already noticing ones that I'm going to need to move. I think I really do. Next up, we have a DC's Legends of Tomorrow. I'm just noticing at this next row, we got a lot of superhero shows coming up. Breaking news: WandaVision being released. Yeah, didn't we hear about that a couple weeks ago? Extra concept art. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. I probably won't buy it, but cool. Legends, again, like, it has the Flash effect, and more, I guess, just the CW effect of what a lot of these shows have. Like, season 1 is like an season 2 is like a divine, season 3 is like divine, season 4 is like a bad, season 5 is like an season 6 is like a good, season 7 is like a good, like, kind of goes all over the place. I'm gonna say good along, and I think that's where a lot of these like CW superhero shows will go, because they run so long and they just have such a stacked. I could see it going in great. I could, but I think again, like, it has such a roster of different quality of seasons. Like, each season's its own kind of thing. It's hard. Same with Arrow. Same with Flash. Same with like a lot of these, man. The Good Doctor. This is a show I dropped. Because I listen, I loved it when I was a kid or younger. It's a show that just came hard to watch. And I think when you have to stop a show when it's hard to watch, I think it has to go in And good, like the good the good doctor's kind of been getting roasted more recently. Like, man, Twitter does not like the good doctor. There was like a good month there where all the where like they were all kind of getting roasted. Like all the clips from the show were getting roasted and kind of made fun of. And I think some were valid for sure. Some was not though. And like again, like at one point this was like a top 10 show for me. I loved The Good Doctor, but I think now that I've gotten older and I can kind of like re-examine it, I think at best it's a good show. Like it would never go higher than a good, I don't think. I'm gonna just put it in eh. And then maybe I can't imagine me ever going back and rewatching it. Earth's Mightiest Heroes. The best versions of Avengers, hands down. Question, is it perfect though? This kind of goes with my whole like Wolverine and the X-Men problem, where it's like could it be a perfect show? Yes. But do I trust my memory enough to put it there? And I mean, just looking at my perfect shows, I don't, at least my memory with it, I guess my memory with it, I wouldn't put above Gravity Falls and Better Call Saul, but it's so good. Earth's Mightiest Heroes is so good. Easily one of the best Marvel things to ever come out ever. Again, maybe if I ever rewatch it, I could see it going in S, but I think for me, I'm putting it in Divine. Really good show, though. I want to rewatch it. I really do. This is getting so packed, man. Can we, there we go. Next up, the ones we've all been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves a Ben 10 classic. So I guess just to reevaluate, we put Alien Force in great. It's a great show. Ultimate Alien in good. Classic Ben 10. So I like it more than Ultimate Alien, but I like it less than Alien Force. Listen, like I didn't watch it as soon as other people, right? I saw Alien Force and I saw Ultimate Alien before I saw Classic, so I feel like that was a disadvantage for me. I think it's a great show though. I think, you know, I do think you kind of have to watch it as a kid though, or you might not get as much enjoyment out of it. Like I got less enjoyment because I did watch it later. Because I watched these like darker tuned shows first, and then I watched that. It's a good show. I don't think there's really a bad season. There's bad episodes. There's episodes that aren't as good, but I think it fits the like qualification as a lot of my great tier shows here for sure. Next up, I have a Mr. Lab Rats, another nostalgic show for me, man. I loved Lab Rats as a kid. It's very inventive. It's very fun. Never seen beyond the original Ben 10. You should. It's really good, man. I think that's when the journey is just like starting. It gets really good later on. Lab Rats, though. Again, it's hard because I haven't watched the show in many years. Is it my like nostalgia talking, or was it very good? I definitely remember there being stuff in the show that wasn't as good. That wasn't as good as I wish it was. I'm gonna say it's good. I think it's a good show. Not great. Not Ant either though. Not Ant either. I wish we got a Ben 10,000. I'm one of the people that's under the impression that I don't know if I'd want a Ben 10,000 show. I think he's a character that's best in small doses. And I think it would be very hard to write in big doses, I guess. Barry is another show that wrapped up this season. Season 3, you know what? Yeah, it's a perfect show. Barry is a perfect TV show. I came to that conclusion in season 3. I was like, I think this is a perfect show. And I was like, if they can stick the landing, it will be among my rare perfect TV shows. Season 4 I liked slightly less. It was slightly my least favorite season. But there wasn't really a particular reason for that. Like, I don't even have nitpicks. It's just my least favorite because I like the first 3 so much more. I've been watching Chainsaw reactions to Alien Force, but I don't count them as me watching it. Oh man, like I guess that kind of like spoils the whole journey then, huh? That kind of sucks, man. I'm sorry. I would still recommend it though. If that's ever something that you want to do. But Barry, so good. It's such a well-written, well-produced show. This actor, I'm blanking on his name. Bill Hader. He's so good. Bill Hader is so brilliant. He directs like most of the episodes, and they're all bangers. They're all absolute treasure troves of just brilliance, in my opinion. Perfect. It's a fourth short again, like Avatar, Stargirl, Gravity Falls, Barry, all relatively short shows. Been a lot of fun. Ben 10 Omuverse, our last Ben 10 show on this list. For now, unless I watch the reboot at some point, or we get a new Ben 10 show. I think they all relatively live in great. I think, like all 3 of these shows, they go through their periods of not as great, not as good as I maybe wish that they were. I think that's kind of what this whole list is, where they have their highest highs, but sometimes they do have low lows as well. So, I don't know. Omniverse though, and also like that's such a long show that's kind of hard to like remember everything that happened, and like everything that all the storylines. Like they had some really good stuff, they had some weird stuff, they had some storylines, or just like they did stuff in the show where I was like, I don't know how I feel about that current thing. Alrighty. Harley Quinn. So the current season's currently going on. I've fallen several weeks behind. This is a show I'll probably watch or like once the season is over. I think season 1 is really, really great. Season 2 is kind of a letdown. Season 3 is really great. I've been kind of struggling with season 4. If I really dislike season 4, it could go in good, I think. Right now I'm going to put it in great, though. I think it kind of lives in the same quality of shows that I currently have in great, for sure. Invincible. Man, one season blew the world out of the water. We recently had the Adam Eve special as well, and all of this news kind of setting up for season 2. I mean, what a show. What an absolute showstopper Invincible was. Like, my goodness. It was such a fun time. I don't think it's quite perfect. I don't think it lives in perfect. Does it live in divine? Or does it live in great? I'm looking at divine, and I feel like do I like it? Season 2, it does come out in a couple months. In November, I think, right? Do I like Invincible? I'm trying to think, because I feel like I almost like it less than like Peacemaker, less than like Wolverine and Loki, and it's divine. Because I think it is a higher like quality of show than some of your great categories as well. But there's some great stuff in here too. I'm gonna say divine for now. And then once season 2 comes around, we can always readjust if it stays its quality, if it stays its course, or if it needs to get put down with the rest of these shows. We'll see. Supergirl, the show that Hero's Journey's been patiently waiting for. It's a good show. It's good. I'm telling you, I think that's where most of these CW shows live, because they have highest highs, man. Like season 3 and 4 are like great to like divine. Like they're so good. And then 5 and 6 is not a huge fan of those. Seasons 1 and 2 are probably also in like the good. So it's good. It's a good show. Sometimes. Same with The Flash. Same with She-Hulk. Same with a lot of these guys over here. Up next, we have the well-awaited Breaking Bad, which is what a lot of people's perfect show. I think that's the show that I think of when I hear the words a perfect show. And I think it deserves that. I really, really do. Its journey from start to finish is so insane. Like there's very little things that I think can really live up to the success of Breaking Bad. And the fact that you can have 2 shows in the same universe with the amount of episodes that are just as good with it. Naruto, see you later, man. Thank you so much for hopping in here and chatting with us. Very much appreciate it. Well, I mean, you can't just watch... I mean, that's fair if you didn't like it. It's just probably not a show for you, you know? But it's a very well-made show. It's a I think most people would agree that it's practically a perfect show. Coming up next here, another one of my all-time favorite shows. That's Phineas and Ferb. I've been debating for a couple of months. Like I've done some of these kind of on my own as well. And Phineas and Ferb has went from perfect to like divine. They kind of go. It's a show that goes back and forth on where I think it should exist. I think divine. I do think it's slightly like it could so easily be imperfect, and I could live happy with it imperfect. Defunct. I agree, and I feel like there's a lot of like these well-made shows. Like they're not always really fun to watch, right? But they're very well made and they're very well like put together, for sure. Divine though, I think Phineas and Ferb can rest there. I feel like there are probably episodes here and there that don't quite live up to what I think of when I think of Phineas and Ferb. I do think those first couple in season 1 just really. Like, it's not Phineas and Ferb yet. It feels like a different show. But once it does find its footing and finds who it is, man, the show is so good. And I was actually thinking about the show a lot today. Like, I put on some of its music. I was kind of vibing to it a little bit. And I was thinking about what comes next for Phineas and Ferb with their next 2 seasons. What that is going to look like. Can it live up to the first 4 and its legacy? Can it bring people back to like Disney Plus? Because like Disney Plus is in shambles currently, so I don't know. The Book of Boba Fett, man, it's Book of Boba Fett, man. I don't know. I don't hate Book of Boba Fett like other people do. Stranger, yeah, it's coming back for 2 more seasons next year. Disney Plus. Book of Boba Fett, I think it's an ass show for me. I enjoyed it more than others. I know a lot of people had a huge problem with the show. It could have been a lot better, that's for sure. But I don't know, it's fine. Yes, really. Yeah, really. I think, again, like, it does kind of prove that maybe it should have been a Mandalorian season, or just do a Boba Fett movie, because I don't know if they had enough to do 6 episodes. I really do not. Girl Meets World. Girl Meets World, man. Why did I put Girl Meets World? It's good. It's a good show for that age gap. I enjoyed it a lot as a kid. I know a lot of people did not. I know a lot of people would very much strongly disliked it. I think the storylines they were able to tell are very mature, are very real, even if the way they sometimes went about it was not. I know there were some big, like, oh my gosh, when the love triangle stuff happened, oh man, just for the love triangle stuff, I almost want to put it in I almost want to do it. I might, just for the love triangle stuff alone. Man, that was rough. That was rough. That was like 2.5. That was like a season and a half worth of just nonstop pain. Man, my goodness, that was rough. But really, like, it has some cool stuff though. Like, if you're a fan of the original, there's definitely some cool stuff in there. Next up here, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now you just brought up a comment about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'll read that in a second. I really enjoyed Obi-Wan Kenobi. I had a good time with it. As a fan of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, I had a relatively good time. It's nothing mind-blowing. It's nothing insane. It's nothing, nothing, I don't know. It's fun seeing these characters again in this world as kind of like a sequel to the sequel trilogy, I guess, right? 13 Reasons Why. Pretty hated show, actually. I legitimately think those first 2 seasons are great. They're great. I still really enjoy seasons 2 and 3, or 3 and 4. There's some weird stuff in this show, though. There's some, like, 13 Reasons Why gets weird. You can tell they are running their wheel. By the end, they are really running their wheels. They don't really know quite what to do. Fun fact, Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi were both originally supposed to be movies, but then yeah, I could definitely see that. And both, I think, would have been much better as movies. Man, Obi-Wan Kenobi is so dumb to me. Like, why? That's like $1 billion movie, I think. I really think it is. I feel strongly negative about 13 Reasons Why. That's fair. It's a weird show. I think it's good, though. It's not... It gets weird, though. It definitely does. Next up, I have The Fosters. Man, I loved this show for a while. I loved it, and I still do. I have a really guilty pleasure for the show. I haven't watched the spinoff. I've seen like 8 episodes of it. I would like to get back to it at some point. Maybe by our next ranking of this. Maybe by next year we'll have seen it. But Fosters is I think it kind of has to go in that good category. Like, good is turning into like the 7-season long shows that has a long history of good and bad seasons. There's some really good stuff there, but what's happening in the chat? Huh. Resend them then. I didn't see what happened. I don't know what they said, if it was bad or something. I wouldn't think it would be bad. I shouldn't see it. Sorry about that, I guess. What were we talking about? Fosters. Yeah. It's a mix of Chosen Vader. How's it going, Chosen Vader? It's okay, stranger. Yeah, Fosters. It's a lot of good, a lot of bad, just good. Hawkeye, man. Hawkeye's great for me, man. I loved Hawkeye. I had a great time with Hawkeye. There's a long history. Like, it's not perfect or anything, but I think what it was able to do, and I just love these characters so much. Like, I like Yelena, I like Kate Bishop, I love Clint. Seeing Kingpin in the MCU proper was so good, even if the way they did reveal it was kind of sucked. So that was kind of weird for sure, but yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I like it. Hey, I didn't even see LO, but I am not easily offended. Disagreement is fine. Fred, not. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, that's what we're all here for. Like, as long as it's done in a positive way, I support it. You know what I mean? Gotham probably sits in that same kind of category for me. Gotham was a weird show with some weird stuff, but also like got some great qualities in there too. Like season 1 was season 2 was good, season 3, 4 were good. I think honestly, I think the like majority of it isn't good. Like season 1 was season 4 was like divine, and then the rest kind of aren't good. So I think Gotham isn't good for sure. I keep having to like zoom out of my page because this tier list is getting so big. Oh yeah, we're coming towards our last 2 rows or so. So we should be wrapping up the next 30 minutes or so. This has been very fun. I'm gonna need to get a long drink of water. Like these long streams, man, they wear on your throat. They really do. Really, season 3 is your favorite? 3 was pretty alright. I love season 4 though. My goodness, season 4, boy oh boy. Daredevil, I think is easily a divine show. I think it can very safely sit there. It was never a perfect show for me. Not saying seasons weren't perfect, but just for me and my love of it, it was never going to be there, unfortunately. But still a very well made show. Like even season 2, which is supposed to be its worst season, I don't even think it's bad. It's just the first. It's just 1 and 2. 1 and 3 are so good. I'm gonna have to watch this again for ideas for things to watch. There are things here I've not seen. There is so much that I need to see. My list of shows that I've seen or that I want to see is so long, and I'm hoping to get through a lot of them this year. So come next year, I can rank even more because this has been a lot of fun. What was the last time we ranked? Oh yeah, Daredevil. Yeah. I don't think it was ever going to be S for me, but I know for a lot of people it would be. Probably going to get a lot of flack, but Daredevil is overrated. I mean, I feel like there are a sector of the internet that would agree with you. I think whenever a show is this popular, and we've seen in this show, like just in this stream tonight alone, like there's been a lot of people who have been a fan of Breaking Bad, haven't been a fan of Game of Thrones, and I think whenever a thing is popular, you're going to sometimes disagree. And I've definitely have had shows like that where a thing was so popular that I just had a hard time getting into it, or just waited too long to actually watch through it. So that's definitely a thing. I am realizing there are a couple of duplicates in here, so I'll try to move all of our duplicates to the bottom for sure. All right, next up is what I think is our last proper Arrowverse show, if I'm not mistaken, unless I'm missing one. And that's Arrow, the show that started it all, the show that jet started an entire universe. And ultimately, outside of Stargirl, which we have currently in S tier, which is very cool. It's not perfect. It's not divine, but I think it can softly sit in great. I do think it is the most consistent Arrowverse show. Season 1 is great. Season 2 is great. Season 3... Well, no, like, Season 1 is, like, divine. Season 2 is, like, divine. Season 3 isn't good. Season 4 is pretty bad, right? Season 5 is in divine. Season 6 is in good. Or actually, probably Season 7's in good. Season 8's in good. And I think that all kind of averages out to great. Like, again, it kind of goes all over the place, but I do think, like, even like even season 3 and season 6 that I think would kind of sit here, I think a lot of their seasons are better than some of the other Arrowverse's kind of seasons. So I think Great sits pretty well for them, for sure. Next up, I have the Defenders. I've only seen 2 of the like Netflix Marvel shows all the way through, start to finish. And that's been Daredevil, and that's Defenders. I would like to get through some of the others at some point, but I just haven't done that up until this very point. So it is what it is. Defenders, last time I did a thing like this, I had put it in I just kind of put it in that okay D tier. But I think the show does so much good. Like, there's so, like, in the stuff that doesn't really work from the show, there is also just so much that works. Like, it has my favorite Daredevil scene ever in that show. And just getting to see the team ups of different characters, and just the fact that we got a Defender show at all, I think puts it out of its coolness alone is really great. And I would love a season 2. Like I've said for a while that I think Daredevil Born Again is going to be like a soft Defender show. And I think we'll hopefully see a lot of these characters again at some point. And I hope to watch some of the other shows in this universe at some point as well. All right, next up is Riverdale. How do you rank Riverdale? I almost think we need a whole nother category just for Riverdale. Because it's so bad, it's good, y'all. Like, I love Riverdale so much because of its insanity. By reasons and by my scale, it's in like in that to bad. Like, its quality is not good, but like good seems too low for it. Great is definitely too high. I mean, I don't know. Where do you put Riverdale? Yeah, I think I might. Like, I think I need a tier in between good and and that's just where you know what, I might need a scale that just says Riverdale, and that's where all the like insanity lives. I'm gonna put it in good for now, because like season 1 is so insane, right? It's so good. I was going to invite you to be in mine in a bit, but you need sleep after all that. Chainsaw, man, listen, I had mine set for like 9:30 as well, and I was like, well, I don't want to go over yours, so I moved mine up 2 hours. Chainsaw, if you still want me, I should only be a little longer. If you want to send me one, I might hop in for a little bit. But my throat is on fire. And we still got a couple more here. Like, we still got a few. I'll send it. Yeah, I should hop in for a couple minutes. Next up is Big Mouth. Man, Big Mouth. I drink some water. I will. I'm definitely going to have to get some water after this. Big Mouth is a show I liked in my younger years, back when I was a teenager. But man, I might go in bad. Like, I think Big Mouth is pretty bad, and I think, again, as a teenager, I think it's all right. And I almost hate putting it in bad, because I think some of what it's able to do, at least for like the younger audience, is good. Like, I do think it touches on topics that some teenagers might need to learn, but it gets really bad, man. And it's like, the older I get, the more I realize I don't really like that type of show. You know what I mean? Gotham Knights. I really liked Gotham Knights. Now, Gotham Knights had its ups and downs. It had some time, like, it had a rough patch to start off. But within its last 6 or 7 episodes, it proved itself to be a good show. It proved itself to be a good show. It's not great. If the back half was the whole thing from start to finish, I'd put it in great. But I think because of the first half, and because it took me so long, and it only lasted one season, so it's hard for me to be able to be like, it's great, you know what I mean? Although there are some good like peacemakers up there, and but yeah, no, I think it's good. I don't think it should go below or above good. It's a good show. Up next here we have Queen Charlotte, the Bridgerton prequel, I guess, spinoff, limited series. Came out this year. It's a brand new show. Literally just came out recently. I had a lot of fun with Bridgerton. With both Bridgerton shows. I think both are pretty good. It's good. It's good. It's kind of that middle of the road TV. Like, it's fun. I can kind of I can kind of just absorb myself into that world of romance and love, I guess, which I really enjoy. I can really enjoy it. XO Kitty, another spinoff, if you will, of To All the Boys, the series about Kitty. I enjoyed the show enough. I had some fun with it. By the end, I found myself getting pretty invested in the world. But I think Kitty as a protagonist is sometimes pretty hard to watch. I think it can. I don't think the writing on the wall. I think just writing is often very weak. I do think it, and with the To All the Boys series, I think is one of the better of the like Netflix rom-com like categories. I'm gonna put it in but it's getting a season 2, so I could see it. I could see it going up at some point. I could see it getting raised. Up here next we have My Adventures with Superman. The show, it ends in 2 days. Just so I was like, should I put it on here since it's not officially, like, it's not, I haven't seen a full season yet, but I feel pretty confident enough that I think I can properly rate it. With, last episode still happening and still coming out. Where I think it has the qualities of Divine. I think it does, but I don't think I could. Can I put it in Divine? I don't feel like I'm there yet. I don't think I'm in Divine territory. It's really, really good, but maybe not there yet. I just realized I don't have Superman and Lois on here. I don't see Superman and Lois. I think I forgot Superman and Lois. That sucks. I'll just tell you guys where I'd put Superman and Lois. I would put Superman and Lois in Divine, and I'll add it later. I'll add it once I'm done here. Or wait it for next year. I think Supergirl will make an appearance. I kind of hope they wait. I kind of hope they wait, man. I don't know. It seems very early for me. They could, and it'll work. I just like this Superman is so early in his career still that it seems like it would almost be not a waste, but maybe not. I guess it wouldn't be a waste, but just very early, and I'd be very interesting what that version of Supergirl would look like. But maybe. The 100. Oh man, that has to be another just good show. It's in that category. I love it though. Like, that's a show, man. One of my favorite shows, but I do think over the time, The 100 has gone through several qualities of terrible to great. Like, season 2 is like divine content. Season 1 is great. Season 2 is like divine. Season 3 is 2, 3, and 4 are probably all in like divine. Then 5 is in like good. 6 is like good. 7 is like bad. Like season 7 is really bad. It's good. Kind of has to just sit in the middle here. All right, guys, we're on our last row. We have like 10 more here. Or 9. We're finally in the final stretch, you guys. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I put my boy Jake in the thumbnail today. I love me some Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I finished it within the last year. I finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine. One of my favorite shows, probably one of, if not one of my favorite sitcoms ever made. Love so much. I love these characters. Captain Holt. Captain Holt deserves a perfect tier. But can I put it there? It's not perfect. It's not perfect. I don't even think it's divine. Because as great as it is, I do think, but like, it's not really, there's no bad season. There's just less good seasons, I think. So I think it's going to firmly place himself in great, in tier numero greats. I love the show. I love it. Great. Again, great's not bad. Like, all these shows in great, I love all of these shows. Season 7 was awful. Season 7 was so bad. Like, I was still able to find enjoyment out of them. But Season 7 was a pretty bad ending. Just based on what happened to my boy Bellamy, I probably will never forgive that show. Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel, another one of our MCU shows. I feel like I'm missing a couple MCU shows here. I don't know what. Next year, I'll have to add the ones that I forgot. Because I forgot a couple. I forgot Superman Lois. I forgot a couple. But it is what it is, I suppose. But Miss Marvel, where do I put Miss Marvel? I think Miss Marvel kind of falls into the same. What was the other MCU show we put here? Was it Falcon and Winter Soldier? Yeah, I think it kind of exists in that same category. There's a lot of good in it. There's some things I don't like as well. I love Captain Holt. Bro, I love Captain Holt too. Captain Holt needs a whole category to himself. Just like, forget about the show. Just call it Captain Holt and I would love it. What did they make? Oh, bro, Bellamy. Bro, they did him so dirty. I hate that show, what they did for him. There's a way to have done that better than how they did it. I really, like, there was literally 4 episodes left. Why? That was so dumb. But Miss Marvel, good tier. Titans. Probably my least favorite of the DC TV shows, unfortunately. I don't like Titans that much. I think, again, there is glimmers of stuff that works for me, but there's not one straight season that I think is good. It's all kind of I think that's like the perfect way to describe Titans is There are good episodes every now and again, but I love its characters, and I enjoy the costumes look good, and the casting is great. I feel so bad for those actors, but Okay. WandaVision. I'll put WandaVision. I'll put WandaVision great. I think for the majority of it, it is a really great show. The ending kind of falls flat for me, but I like just the journey, just like the week-to-week journey I was able to take was incredibly fun. The whole Ralph Boner stuff, that was rough. Agatha's pretty great. I don't know, man. Like, I kind of think we hate on WandaVision. Like, I think it was a good show up until the final episode. I really think that, man. Like, I think people just remember that final episode and be like, oh, it's terrible. Like, you were enjoying it the entire time. I feel like. That's just me, though. That's just me. Weird. I enjoyed it. I feel like WandaVision's there's nothing like WandaVision is really. It is very, very unique. There is nothing quite like it. I would agree there. What If? Good. Just like Diabolical, it's kind of hard to rank a show like this. I enjoyed what they had. There's some stuff I didn't enjoy. Had fun week to week. Didn't really have much issues with them. Yeah, it's good. It's a good show. Bridgerton. I would, I'd say it's good. It's a good show. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's on the caliber of the shows I have in great currently. But it's good. For sure. You can tell I'm getting tired by this point. I'm kind of talking about them a little quicker and less. Vox Machina. So this is another one I've seen one season for. I've seen one season of Vox Machina. And I thought it was good. It's another good, I think. I don't know. I didn't get much out of it. Like, at one point in time, I put it kind of but I don't think it deserves Like, there's some good stuff in there. I haven't seen season 2. I've heard season 2. You know what? I'm putting it in But that's just because I haven't seen season 2. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had a passion to watch it either. Like, it's been out for almost all year, and I have had no interest in even trying to go back into it. I really have not. And that's kind of unfortunate because I like what I like that it was so different than anything I'd ever watched. Like, I've never watched a like D&D inspired type show before, and I think that's very cool, but I just hadn't done it. So I thought that was cool. But like besides that, it didn't really do much for me, unfortunately. Next up, we have The Time Traveler's Wife. Loved The Time Traveler's Wife. I so badly wanted that to get more seasons. I have not seen the movie, but the HBO show that ran for a season, so perfect, so amazing, so wonderful. I just think with it only getting one season, it could have been a perfect show for me. I won't say it's perfect because the character can be kind of creepy at times, and I feel like there is like a element of me feeling weird watching the show. You know what I mean? But man, it was kind of so worth it because it was so well done. Do I have to back up even more? I think I might have to. All right, final 3. Guys, we're in the final stretch. This is it. Look how large this tier list is. This is a pretty filled list here. And next year it's going to be even filler. Like, you'll barely be able to see anything, I feel like. My goodness. The White Lotus. I'm actually currently watching season 2 right now. I was trying to get caught up for the stream and didn't happen, but I did kind of want to throw it on here. Like, I'm so close to being done with it. I just wanted to throw it on the list. The White Lotus is really, really, really good. It's a very well-made show. HBO shows are normally very well made, very well produced. It's not perfect though, mainly because of how the show makes me feel. Like, the show it's a very hard show to watch, and maybe that's the same thing that people had with Breaking Bad earlier, where it's like it's physically hard for me to put on Breaking Bad, and I can understand that, and I even went through that. Some of it is very hard to watch. The White Lotus, though, and maybe in future seasons, if I come back, I'll be like, I have no issues with The White Lotus, and I can go up and perfect. But I think it's a divine show. It's very well made. I have to finish season 2. By the time we do this again, not always looking at you, idol. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. But it's a pretty great show. And I bet by the time we do another one of these, there'll probably be another season out. Which is kind of interesting. Let's swap these. Moon Knight. Now, I know some people really enjoy Moon Knight. I know, Stranger, you really like it, right? It's an show for me. I'm not a huge Moon Knight guy. Not a huge fan, unfortunately. Didn't enjoy it. Didn't have a good time with it. Didn't find any real enjoyment out of it, unfortunately. Kind of up there with, I enjoyed Secret Invasion more, but it's not bad. Like, I kind of like everything in more than Moon Knight almost, but I can't put it in bad. can I put it in bad? No, it's not bad. I'm just not a fan. Oh, Idol. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I'm not watching that show. I heard it's not great, and I don't really have much of an interest in watching it personally. Yeah, you love Moon Knight. I'm not a fan of it personally, but and lastly, I got duplicates of a couple of shows on there, so I won't add them. But lastly, for now, or definitely not least, Heartstopper just came out with the second season, beginning of the month, beginning of August, and I think before it would have gone in a great or a divine, but man, at the first really good season, and after almost a perfect season 2, it's going in perfect, baby. Heartstopper is one of the rare perfect seasons so far. Now again, it's only 2 seasons in. It could go down a hill. We've seen that with a couple of shows. We've seen that with Sex Education. It's in Divine right now, but it at one point would have been in Perfect. Heartstopper is so good. Yeah, man, I love it. I loved the show. It brings me to such a happy place, and I think, again, 2 great seasons. I think it deserves that spot for me. And now let's look at just kind of the whole list. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit because, man, I keep having to zoom out just to see the entire thing. Is there anything that I would want to change? Anything that feels out of place within the others? There's a lot to look at here. I'm looking at Total Drama, and Total Drama, I feel like I love Total Drama a lot more than the things that I have in Good. Like, I think it has a better quality to them than a lot of the things I have in Good. Euphoria, I almost feel like Euphoria has a higher caliber from the things I have in Great, but I don't think it can go in Divine. I really don't think it can. Only Murders is going to stay for now, I think. For now, I'm feeling pretty confident in this list. Queen Charlotte could go in Great, I suppose, but I think it might stay. Might have to stay. And we can adjust next time. Manifest seems pretty on par with most of these shows in here as well, I think. Yeah, I'm vibing it pretty well. I think it's a pretty solid list. I feel pretty confident. And I really wanted to do this now because we just started our new show, Watching Through the Void, which is basically me watching brand new shows for the first time, some week to week, some binging. And I wanted to kind of establish this list now for, as I watch new shows over there, they can be affected over here. And all of that stuff. And yeah, with all that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all enjoyed. For those of you who stayed the entire time, 2 hours, thank you. Thank you a lot. Y'all really mean the world to me. And I very much appreciate it. 136 comments. So you see, like, normally I don't see that stuff. But since I was watching over my phone, I actually got to see it this time around. So thank you guys a lot. This was a lot of fun. Next week, I do want to actually do a little bit of an update. Because some people have been asking about Tazz. Where is Tazz? What's going on? All that kind of fun stuff. Tazz has taken a bit of a break from the pipeline. As you could probably tell, he's had a new commitment in his life, and we have to let him kind of do that. And for the next several weeks or so we're going to kind of be bringing on some guests. I asked you over on Twitter, anyone who would be interested, and a lot of you guys reached out. He's a dad. Who's a dad? Tazz? Tazz is not a dad. But yeah, no, I'm excited to bring on some new faces. A lot of people commented. Some people I've been really wanting to work on. Obviously, some people I have worked with before have all reached out, and it's going to be a fun rest of the year. I even have people for like up until like February, I think. So it's going to be a really good time. No, he's not, he's not a dad. No. He has some work stuff that he's doing. So I don't think he's a father. But guys, again, thank you. This was such a blast. I had fun. And yeah, I'm excited to brainstorm for what comes next in the future of the pipeline. Next week, we should be back to original programming for what we would do over here on the show. But without further ado, I will see y'all. Sorry, without further ado, I will see y'all on the flip side. Bye-bye.
You guys always lock me in here. This is so up. Every time I kind of up, you just put me in the box. Oh, I'm so upset. Please, guys, don't make me keep ad-libbing. I think the toilet's backed up. I can smell it.